How's it going today, you guys? I'm just visiting the holiday house. It's a sunny winter day, the end of January 2024, and thought I'd do a walk and talk with you guys and show you guys the Sonora Dodd house. This house has a pretty interesting story to it. The lady that founded Father's Day actually lived here with her father and her siblings, and her name was Miss Sonora Dodd. And that's why I call this house the holiday house, because it's got a really unique story behind it. You see, Miss Sonora Dodd, her maiden last name is Smart. Her father and mother and family lived in this house, and during childbirth of her mother's final kid, her youngest sibling, her mother passed away, leaving her father to raise all the kids alone in this house. And he clearly did a pretty good job, that Mr. Smart, because his daughter Sonora was so inspired by how good of a father he was that she petitioned to Congress, I believe, about having a Father's Day, because they had a Mother's Day already, but never a Father's Day. And she didn't think that that was fair. So in honor of her father, she pushed and pushed and pushed to get Father's Day formally recognized, which she finally did. I can't remember the exact year or all the details, but you can look back at previous episodes of my channel and I talk about it in much more detail. As you can see, this house has definitely seen better days, although it's pretty sturdy compared to most of the farmhouses that we've been to out in this area in eastern Washington. It's definitely starting to succumb to the elements. I can definitely notice the change over the last couple of years even. Every year this house seems to just get a little bit more beat up. But luckily, this house wasn't built with lath and plaster. As you can see, Mr. Smart must have had a little bit of money to build a house this nice. As you can see, it's all solid boards. There's none of that lath and plaster stuff that really deteriorates a house fast. And it's a pretty big house compared to a number of the farmhouses I've been to as well. It's got an upstairs. Let's go up here and check it out. Everything's still pretty solid, but the roof, just like in all the other farmhouses, is the ultimate weakness, and it's starting to deteriorate. As the cedar shingles start to blow off one by one, it leaves more and more openings for water to come through, as you can see right here. At this room. Still a pretty nice bedroom, all things considering. I've seen a lot worse out at these farmhouses. Just amazing to me to think that Mrs. Sonora Dodd and her father and her family lived here for quite a while. She was literally raised here. Now, I'm not sure if her mother passed away in this house during childbirth, or if she went to the hospital where she would pass away, but my guess would be that she passed away in this house, giving birth to her final child. In my opinion, this house should be some sort of historical monument, but it seems to have just been forgotten in the sands of time, like many of these pioneer houses have been forgotten over the years. I guess what I'm trying to do is bring light to it a little bit more, but it might be to the dismay of the property owner, I don't blame them for not wanting people to come around in these places because there's a lot of liability. You could get hurt. People don't always make the smartest decisions, as we know. So some things are better left just being secret, but my channel wouldn't last very long if I played by those standards and rules, obviously. As you can see, though, the house is still in pretty good shape. Heading down the stairs now. This is one of the first houses that I found quite a number of years ago when I started doing my research on this big historical undertaking that I've taken. Quite the challenge documenting all this history in Eastern Washington. There's just so much going on. And it still amazes me to this day how the farmers lived out here in this area. The harsh weather, the uncertain economic times that they faced. Everything was just uncertain. You really had very little control out here on these farmsteads. Kind of glad the day turned out like it is. It's nice and sunny out for a January day in 2025, essentially. There's a lot to like about this house, especially the windows. Like most of these farmer pioneer houses, the windows never failed to disappoint. My guess is because they wanted to get as much sunlight as they possibly could in here, because not all these houses had electricity. I thought this wallpaper was pretty cool too. If you look close enough, you could see the design and get an idea of what the living room might have looked like back in the day. That's what I'm big on, is wondering what these old farmer houses looked like back in the day. I really would give anything to see a couple pictures of any of these houses. And as you can see, the window placement is awesome, as usual. But it's just the weather does so much damage to these houses out here in Eastern Washington. There's almost no stopping it once they're abandoned. It's bound to get worse and worse. We're going to go out to the front porch now. I'll show you guys how beat up the front porch is. Bet you at one time it was really nice, this house, but as you can see over the years, it's just fallen apart and deteriorated more and more and more. This is a very desolate house as well. There's not much surrounding it. Maybe a farmer or two still lives in the area, but that's about it. You see them down that way. Now we're outside. You can just see the vast openness of the area behind me. Truly is an amazing house. Give you guys some shots of the outside here so you can see it a little better if you're new to my channel. Look at that bedroom window up there though, it's just wow. They built these houses so well back in the day. The craftsmanship just isn't like it used to be. Especially considering the materials that they had to work with. I'm going to be doing a episode on the materials that they used to build all these houses and the differences between them and all of that coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. As you can see, the roof has seen better days. There's still quite a few cedar shakes up there though. I'm pretty impressed. And you could even see the metal siding up there where the two roofs combine and connect to each other. And the chimney is all but fallen apart. Like all the rest of these farmhouses, there's no more windows. They've all been broken or taken out. Just wonder what this place looked like back in the day. I wonder what color the house was. I wonder what their front yard looked like out here. Because now, as you can see, everything's pretty overgrown and unkept. All the trees they grew out here, though, look at that. Just incredible. The pioneer farmers out in this area like to grow a lot of trees around their house because they needed some kind of shade. The summer out here is almost unbearable at times, and if you didn't have shade like this, you were definitely going to have a harder summer than most. I love the way this house was built. Mr. Smart did a really good job. I assume that he built a lot of this house by himself because he was a hard-working man. And he put a lot of time into it. Even the tops of these windows. I don't know if you guys could see them, but just the craftsmanship and the time that Mr. Smart took and putting all this together piece by piece, I'm definitely impressed. He was a ingenuitive man, and that's what it took to survive out here. You had to have money, you had to have grit, you had to have determination, you had to be really innovative. These farmers had to fix their own tools, they had to do home repairs, they had to do all this stuff themselves. They didn't have much help in the area surrounding them. So like I said, you had to really be innovative. You had to be somebody special to really have a successful go doing something like this. Just couldn't imagine being out here all by myself, nobody around, and you're just completely self-reliant. Maybe you go to the store once a month or once every couple of months to get some supplies, but other than that, you were on your own out here. There weren't very many farmers around. Most people had at least 160 acres to themselves, and oftentimes that you were miles away from other people who were struggling the same way that you were and probably didn't have many resources to give themselves. You could see where the porch was right here. Each one of these farmhouses, they always seem to have one of these porches out back, and all of them are destroyed. You never come onto an old farmhouse that has a porch still intact for whatever reason. You can see just how desolate this place is. Besides one house out here, there's just nothing else. I mean, the Smart family, they were all alone out here. So in conclusion, the Smart family was a family of ingenious and innovative pioneers that came out here and built something out of nothing. And this house, while it's not a historical monument, definitely should be, in my opinion. And this is the house of the woman that came up with Father's Day. Her story is quite interesting as well. She became a Dodd. She married a guy with the last name Dodd, and he was one of the people that founded the Ball and Dodd Funeral Home and all of that in Spokane, Washington, which is still a pretty prominent place to this day. So Mrs. Dodd had her hands in a lot of stuff, not only inventing Father's Day, but basically laying the groundwork for a lot of the big cemeteries that are in Spokane. And she's even buried at the Greenwood Memorial Terrace. You guys could find her headstone there. It's a pretty popular headstone out there. Although popular not so much anymore, maybe back in the day. Show you guys some clips of the house before we head out on our way. Just such a beautiful farmhouse. It truly is. This is the old road that they drove down or walked down. I don't really know if they had a vehicle or if they were just using a horse and buggy. Not quite sure how all of that worked out. Pretty awesome place though. For as desolate as it is, I'm surprised that more damage hasn't been done to it. Like I said, I'm pushing for it to be made a historical site. I think the house should be preserved at all costs just because of the Washington State history as well as the national history that this house represents. Sad to see it fall away and drift away to the sands of time as we're seeing now. Kind of wanted to show you guys the view here of walking to the Dodd house, or as I like to call it, the holiday house. Pretty desolate, although it's a nice dirt road that'll take you there. I hope you guys are enjoying my channel. I hope you guys like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Kind of a goal of mine for 2025. I'm at about 550 now, so anybody that can like, subscribe, or share my videos, I would really appreciate it. Let's check it out. This is what it looks like walking to the Sonora Dodd Smart House. Sure is a beauty. Nice sunny winter day out here. I've been waiting for it to snow because I'd like to show you guys what all these old farmer pioneer houses look like when it's snowing. I think it just adds a whole new dimension to everything. And it helps show you guys what these farmer pioneers went through back in the day, dealing with all weather conditions. Usually I'm just out here in the fall and summer, but this winter, while I'm still in Washington State, I'm going to try to come to a lot of these houses when it's snowing for you guys and show you guys what they look like. A lot of these old farmer pioneer houses are marked by these trees, as you can see. Whenever I'm trying to locate one, I always try to go where there's a couple trees in the middle of nowhere. That's usually a pretty good indication that you're running into a farmhouse or a cemetery. As you can see, a couple people that live in this area to this day still use this road. You could see the tire tracks, but I don't think many people are visiting the house. Just wanted to show you guys what it looks like walking up on the house. It's pretty cool. In the summertime, birds will fly out, all kinds of stuff like that. I gotta watch for rattlesnakes, but since it's so cold out, I have a pretty relatively nice and peaceful walk to a lot of these houses, besides the cold. And it can get really windy out here, so I've been blessed with a windless, sunny day in the winter. And I'm gonna celebrate that and be grateful for that, because it could be much worse. Just a beautiful house. I can't say it enough times. I love coming to these old farmhouses. They're probably my favorite things in the world. I love the cemeteries, don't get me wrong, but these farmhouses are just, these are special historical time capsules to me. And I'm pretty lucky living in Washington State. I still get the opportunity to enjoy them. Most of these old farmer pioneer houses in other states have long since been destroyed. And I believe that so many of these houses are still left over in eastern Washington, because Washington State was one of the last places to actually become a state. So we just haven't caught up with some of the older states yet. I imagine throughout time, all of these farmhouses will just fall down and be forever forgotten. And that's why I started this channel, because I want everybody to remember what life was like in eastern Washington before all the technology came. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.